He's icing and slicing. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. This is I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
And this week, for episode 12, we watched Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. And it has an equally awesome tagline as the first one. Almost worse, because icing and slicing is pretty fucking ridiculous.
God damn it. But further solidifies that there needs to be the Batman and Robin crossover.
All right. Like, all of Jack's lines in this movie were just, like, outraging me, because I was like, most of them made no sense.
Yeah, absolutely zero of them.
And guy that played Jack, Scott McDonald, is just overacting a fucking storm again. It's pretty sweet.
Was it just me, or like for the first half of the movie, did you think it wasn't the same guy? Like, he sounded different to me, and I was like, "Is that him?" And I had to Google it.
It sounded like way more cartoony.
Yeah,
but it seems like a lot of this movie, they kind of just, instead of trying to make it like, I feel like the first Jack Frost, they were kind of like, all right, we're gonna make like a real horror movie, but it's gonna be kind of funny. I think this one, they just like fully embraced the complete ludicrous idea and like nature of what this movie should have been.
Yeah, if it was like 50-50 on the first one, this one just leans 200% into the camp.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, the general idea of it even just being on like a tropical island, you pretty much have to.
From the outset, it's full throttle.
This movie was fucking awesome. I would say, like, so far, I think from the movies we've done, this was like the surprise one for me, where I was like, oh, I kind of like really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I expected shit from this movie, but it was delightfully ridiculous.
I desperately want the sequel that Michael Cooney wants to make from this of oh fuck, what did he call it? I think it was like Jackzilla.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm fucking on board for.
Would absolutely watch.
Yeah, Giant Jack Frost is set a decade later with Jack let loose on a city causing destruction and mayhem called Jackzilla. And he was talking about that in 2016, so
the time is right.
I'm fucking on board.
Never been a better time for a Giant Killer Snowman film.
Oh, 100%. Then number 4, straight into space.
Damn right. But he's still going to be gigantic.
Oh, that would be amazing. Just completely rip off Leprechaun in space when he gets all gigantic. So, this movie, again, directed and written by Michael Cooney, who, when I was looking at stuff about this, apparently he now writes children's books.
Oh.
I found his Twitter. I don't know. He's got at least 2 children's books he's written. I don't know. I didn't see like dates though. Yeah. He's got like a handful. Like IMDb just has like other works, and it was just like screenplays and whatever. But then it had like 2 children's books. But I found him on Twitter, and I'm gonna 100% pitch him on Jack Frost in space.
I mean, space is cold. It makes sense.
Yeah, he would. That would work. I also realized watching this movie, especially when you get to the scene where it's like the costume party, that the Christopher Allport, the guy that plays Sheriff Sam, looks exactly like a young Fred Willard. Like the rest of the movie, that's all I can picture is them just having like Fred Willard play that role.
We need to make that happen in space.
On board, because Fred Willard is awesome. So relatively the same cast as the first one. I did like Eileen Seeley, the lady that plays Anne. Apparently, Jack Frost 2 was her last movie that she made.
Oh.
I don't think she's dead. At least I didn't see she was. I'm guessing she stopped acting.
I was gonna say, I hope it's because she stopped acting and not something else.
But I also realized that she was Martha Wayne in Batman Forever, the Val Kilmer
What?
one. Yeah.
Holy shit, okay.
Which is awesome, because that movie also rules in a very terrible way. And Chip Heller, who plays Joe, apparently was in Memoirs of an Invisible Man, the John Carpenter movie.
This is all very confusing.
Well, he was like, I didn't write down what his credit was. I think it was something like Man-Hailing Taxi, or like some innocuous...
His stunt double?
Yeah, something
Invisible
like,
stunt double?
Small like that. But this movie also opens with another, like, looking through, like, every movie we've done, like, almost all of the fucking people in every one of these movies at some point has been on Seinfeld. And so, the psychiatrist at the beginning...
Streaks Alive?
Yeah.
Yes.
You got Ian Abercrombie, Mr. Pitt from Seinfeld, as the psychiatrist at the very beginning, who apparently was also in Army of Darkness, which I do not remember.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah, one of his credits was Army of Darkness, so now I gotta rewatch Army of Darkness, but it's been a while since I watched that. And Doug Jones was in this movie. I don't remember who he was.
Is he in the snowman suit?
No, it was Dave, but I can't remember who Dave was.
I don't remember who the fuck Dave was either.
That was like all his credit was just Dave, but like Doug Jones does like fucking everything now. Was in Hellboy, Shape of Water.
Yeah, he's an adult now.
He does like all of those kind of like weird creature roles, and is always like amazing in them too. And like the last person I wrote down was Ray Cooney. Colonel Hickering is the director's dad, which I guess he's also like a pretty established actor for like the stage. I think in England, he had like a shit ton of like roles and plays that were all like German titles. From what I remember.
I think he was the best part of the film, honestly.
He's pretty awesome. I think
he's just so delightful.
The best part of the entire movie is the creatures at the end.
Yes.
I lost my fucking mind on my first watch.
They just completely rip off Tremors 2.
I like
every way.
I was thinking Gremlins just because they had the one with the mohawk.
Oh yeah.
As soon as that started happening, I was like, this movie is fucking brilliant. It was like, I was fully on board.
It's a completely unexpected plot point.
And like, it's so dumb because it's like, Jack just kind of fucking like disappears, and then it's just like...
Yeah, for no reason. He's just like...
coughs up that snowball, and he's like, alright, bye. And then just fucking fucks off somewhere.
Dives into the snow. Literally, dives into the snow and vanishes.
So awesome. So this movie opens with Sam talking to Mr. Pitt, who is the worst psychiatrist imaginable. And like, he's got his staff listening on speakerphone, all laughing at him as he's talking about this killer snowman that like numerous people have to be able to back up his claim. It's not like he's the only one that saw this fucking thing.
Yeah, there's an entire town. The whole town of Snowmanton.
With the Snowmanton International Airport.
We got an international airport. Everyone knows.
The other thing that fucking like broke my brain. I was like, this tiny ass town has an international airport.
Why wouldn't they?
So Mr. Pitt is just, and like his entire staff are basically laughing at Sam as he kind of recaps everything that happened in the first movie. He asks him like what happened to Jack's remains, and he talks about they all buried him and like buried the canisters of antifreeze in an unmarked grave. Cut to a scene of some dude with like the most over the top hillbilly voice showing somebody like where the unmarked grave is and like selling it for money, and they dig up Jack's remains in these bottles of antifreeze, and then you just cut to a bunch of generic scenes of people doing science on water, and it's pretty ridiculous because they all like, it's just like shots of like beakers with like snowman statues in them, and like just like completely ridiculous shit. And like, this is where like I just like, if we could have planned out, I really would have, we could have just done a Kit Science corner and be like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah. What is happening here?
Like, there's just shots, it's just like colored liquid, and they're just like squirting it into
random things.
Yeah, and then there's like
from one beaker to another.
A very weird shot of like them putting like, I can't think of the name of like what it is, but where they're just putting like, they're like putting electricity into it, and then all the scientists are just like dejected because nothing's happening, and like all the scientists go home. For some reason, one of them leaves a Christmas mug with, I guess, antifreeze in it. Something's in it. Maybe ice. I don't know. I couldn't really put together what was supposed to be in the mug. I think it's
a mug full of ice. I don't think they ever showed, but that was the only thing I could piece together that would make any kind of sense for him to come back as a snowman.
It's in like, there's a bunch of antifreeze in a fish tank hanging from the ceiling from chains, like it's a fucking Hellraiser, and and like a janitor comes in, bumps into it 3 times backwards, like it's just like, I guess, vacuuming and not paying any attention to what he's doing. He just bumps into this thing 3 times. The mug finally falls in. You get some Jurassic Park level CGI,
some super sweet like dry ice tossed into a fish tank effect.
Yeah. That then cuts to the absolute worst CGI I think I've ever seen.
That's a bold statement.
Oh, dude. It's like, the CGI here at this beginning when it's just like all of the ice crystals or whatever, and then the CGI on like the snowball babies later.
I feel like the CGI right here at the start, it was better than his original formation in the first movie. I feel like it was a slight step up.
I don't remember the formation. All I can remember is like him melting, which I loved. I don't remember like his actual formation, but
it wasn't great.
Granted, again, this was like 2000, but at the same time, again, Jurassic Park had happened like 4 years earlier or some shit.
One thing that really jumped out at me on this one was like the very stark decline in quality, like of like film wise. Yeah, like the original Jack Frost looks like a real movie with an actual budget, and this one is clearly like a direct to video, like super shitty quality thing.
Well, it almost looked like it was shot like you know how you see movies now that are shot like straight on video as opposed to film, and they have that like crispness, but it doesn't, like, it kind of just looks like you're watching like a video on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of looked like that. Like, the scene in the psychiatrist's office, I noticed that it looked like really crisp, but it also looked really fake. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, it just, like, I don't really know how to explain it. It just kind of came off as, like, you could tell, like, video quality improved, but they somehow managed to make it look worse than the first one.
Yeah.
So Jack comes back, like bursts out of this fucking fish tank, killing the janitor with like a piece of glass in his face, like cutting his face in half from the mouth. I will say the deaths in this movie are all pretty fucking amazing.
Oh man,
I already know.
There's one that blew my mind. Yeah, I think you know which one. No, it's not. Don't spoil it. We'll get to it.
No, I'm not going to. I think it's the next actual death, no, it's not. Yeah. So, Jack's back. You cut to Snowman International Airport, which is a thing that exists.
Incredible. Snowman killing it. They've really grown in size over the last year.
They've had a huge boom in tourist attractions since the killer mutant snowman attack a year prior. You cut like Sam and his wife Anne are waiting at the airport for Joe and Marla, who were like I think one of his deputies, and I'm not sure what Marla's role was in the first movie. She just works at like the police station. I'm not sure if she was an actual cop or if she was kind of like a secretary.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really remember her either.
But they're all flying to Hawaii for Marla and Joe are going to get married. It's the 1 year anniversary of Jack Frost's attack on Snowman. And like Sam has pretty much done nothing but think about Jack for the entire year. So they're like getting away, going to go on like a second honeymoon and bunch of garbage. Pretty much this entire movie is just Sam bumbling to himself about Jack and everybody being outraged at his like thinking Jack could possibly still be around, like nothing in the first movie happened.
Yeah, how dare you be traumatized by the killer snowman attack?
It's
that totally normal event.
Even like when they see Jack, like Marla's still just like, that wasn't him.
Yeah, get out of here.
That's another snowman that came to life. So they fly to Hawaii. You cut to, you get introduced to basically like the general cast as like they all get like driven into whatever this hotel resort they're staying at, where you meet the colonel who owns it, who is constantly saying vaguely and overtly racist things about India and Indian people because apparently he was in a war in India. I remember the term Punjabi being thrown around a lot.
A lot.
Which the first time I watched the movie, because I texted you and I was just kind of like, oh, this movie kind of like didn't have a shit ton of racism in it for once. And then I watched it again today to like refresh myself before we did this. It was like, oh, they're kind of...
Oh, never mind.
is a handful of racist shit in here. You also get a very, very, very over-the-top, like 1990s portrayal of a gay man as the photographer.
Oh, Jesus. That was...
It was very,
bad.
like, cringeworthy and not great. And it's like, again, this movie was in 2000, and this guy's like, this is like the portrayal you would see in, like, the late 80s. It's almost like...
every over-the-top stereotype you can think of.
I can't think of the actor's name, but the guy in Mannequin... I don't know. Mannequin. Like,
I don't know.
Go watch Mannequin.
You cannot be mad at me for not having seen Mannequin.
Yes, I can.
Get out of here.
Mannequin is amazing. You also get introduced... well, you got this camera guy who is there to shoot like a modeling set with some other like lady you see later. And you get like these three... easily like 28-year-old women who were supposed to be like, I guess, college age, that like the entire time people are like showing up, the colonel is like, oh, these three are gonna like coming to the island to realize that like friendship matters more than like whatever, and these people are here to rekindle this, and has like got these all like deep backstories. And his sidekick Bobby is just kind of like, maybe they're just here to go on vacation. Like, not everybody here needs to have this, like, life-changing epiphany. And the Colonel's just like, ha, poppycock. There's some, I don't even know what he says, but, like, this was another movie that I had to just basically not write quotes down because it's pretty much all it would have been.
Yeah, I think that was all of my notes before I gave up.
All of Jack's complete fucking nonsense. I have 2 quotes and they're both pretty amazing. So, after everybody kind of gets introduced, you cut to a scene of this lifeboat stranded out in the middle of the ocean with these 2 guys that are just kind of bickering over however they got stuck out there. And they start fighting because one of them ate, like, their rations, and all that's in the fucking cooler is a full carrot.
I completely forgot about this part.
Well, the only
the only reason it's there is for the stupid fucking carrot. It's the whole point of the scene.
It's pretty awesome. It also, like... Well, so these 2 dudes are just, like, floating out in the ocean. There's a fucking carrot in this icebox. They start fighting. One dude gets pushed into the ocean and I guess just fucking, like, drowns. And then the other guy gets killed by Jack by getting, like, stabbed through the lifeboat. Jack gets, like,
naturally.
Gets the carrot nose. But all I could think about was, like, for one, it's weird to me that Jack is traveling through salt water. But just I
had thought about that, but yeah.
Ignoring that and just going with, like, the logic of this movie, like, why couldn't Jack just create, like, himself as, like, the biggest thing imaginable by just, like, becoming a snowman out of all of this water?
Yeah, he could have been just a gigantic ocean snowman filled with sharks,
shooting sharks and
throwing sharks at people.
Blobfish at people and shit. I would
be traumatizing.
I would watch the shit out of that movie too.
Imagine getting hit in the face with a blobfish.
I mean, Ted Cruz's wife does.
Let's say miniature Ted Cruz. Oh.
Hey, that's your home state boy.
Damn it. I got nothing.
So after this, like, small scene, it's just like Jack. Basically, this scene just exists for a reason to have Jack get his nose back. There, you cut to, like, a party going on at this resort. Sam is sitting there being me on vacation, just fucking moping. Thinking about fucking Jack Frost.
How frosty he was.
You get introduced to the worst character in this movie, Captain Fun. Who, like, basically took the role in this movie, for me, of, like, the kid. Or every time he was on screen, I was just like, God damn it.
Get him out of here.
He is... Which, I mean, like, to be fair, like, the dude's playing the character that it was written for him pretty well. Like, I think he's supposed to be, like, super over the top and annoying, but, like, I just hated the character.
I don't know how you could say that about Captain Fun.
I'm going to be Captain Fun for Halloween next year. 4 people in the world will get it.
Maybe, if that.
You get introduced to the 2, like, bros that have, like, no bearing on the plot except to get killed later, but are, like, typical early 90s, like, bro dudes, just, like, surfer speak nonsense. They're amazing. Their deaths are also real fucking dumb and awesome. But they're basically just there to get killed later, and for something for, like, to get the 3 college girls onto the beach later. Because they really have, like, maybe 3 lines, like, the entire movie.
Maybe.
They also, for as little as their characters are in this movie, took up a very large portion of, like, my thinking after the movie ended. They're fucking terrible. You also get a scene of everybody singing Christmas songs for karaoke, which infuriated me because nobody on the planet would do that.
No, absolutely not.
I think
you're on vacation. Don't do that.
Singing Jingle Bells, maybe. I don't know. I forget what it is. It's again, this movie, like the first one, like every song in it is a Christmas song, but done like as generically as possible.
Like trying to skirt, like
it's
recognizability,
all,
but
it's
doing
all,
a very poor job.
It's all Christmas songs that are, I'm guessing, in the public domain.
Yeah,
but like they're done on the level of like shit you would hear when you're like stuck on hold or like in an elevator and shit like that. After like pretty much this entire scene is just set up to show that like Sam can't relax. He's like constantly just thinking about Jack. Kind of like has this like
Rose.
Like what?
Like Rose.
Oh yeah.
Boom, Titanic joke for those who didn't get it.
It took me like a second to put. I was like, Rose. Wait, oh yeah. He's basically, he just like can't move on and is just like concerned that like Jack came back once, he could come back again or whatever, and basically everyone just kind of like, you're a fucking dickhead, stop thinking about this.
Completely dismissing his valid past traumas.
Right. And you cut to a scene of like these 3 college girls on the beach, which minus the end is probably the best scene in this movie, because you get like 3 pretty fucking awesome deaths back to back. These girls are sitting on this beach kind of arguing about these 2 bro dudes and who's going to sleep with who, because there's 3 of them and 2 of these dudes, and one of them is just like, oh, I'm going to where the fire's going out, I'm going to run and get some more coal, which is not how you have like fires on the beach, especially when they're just surrounded by fucking trees.
Quick interjection. This was one of the quotes that I did write down when they were arguing, and it was, one of the women says, if he was flirting with me any harder, he would have been arrested.
Oh, yeah. That's one
and I don't know what that means.
That's one of my quotes I have written down, too. I have no idea what that means unless it's supposed to be, like, a weird rape joke. Like, I don't...
It's incredibly perplexed.
Made no sense. But so, one of the girls is like, I'm gonna go get some coal to keep this fire going, and like walks off, comes across a trail of like coal on the ground, goes to like start picking it up, and Jack is like in a tree, because pretty much at this point all you really get is like, you hear voiceover of Jack talking.
Yeah, you get to see him. You see his carrot nose.
He starts throwing down like icicles at her, and every time, about 5 of them, he misses her because she like goes to
moves out of the way,
pick up coal, and I can hear you laughing already.
So excited for it.
He keeps missing, and he just says "fuck it," and then all of a sudden, a giant fucking snow ice anvil falls on her, and just like obliterates her, and it is fucking awesome.
I shot up, like, I was laying in bed watching it, and I shot up, and it was like, what?
I laughed so hard. It's like, it's up there, and like now,
absolutely like, mind-blowing.
At least one of the top 10 deaths in a movie I think I've ever seen. And especially, like, when they show, like, the aftermath, like, later on, it's pretty fucking amazing. Like, you could tell that they definitely, like, they didn't spend money on, like, film quality. They spent money on, like, the gore in this movie, because it is over the top and crazy. But yeah, she gets fucking squashed by a giant fucking ice anvil. One of the other friends decides to come find out what's going on, stumbles across it, and Jack starts, like, putting icicles out of the ground, which she steps on one, which made me cringe, because that seemed incredibly painful. As she steps on one, she falls backwards into a bunch of icicles and is impaled to death. And then the third friend starts hearing Jack talking to her at the fire, pulls out like tongs that she for some reason had, and Jack fucking stabs her straight in the eyes with these tongs. So,
that one was rough. That one made me cringe.
So you get 3 pretty sweet deaths in
like
very
rapid succession.
But nothing tops the anvil. That anvil was fucking dope.
It's really the high point of the film.
Yeah, it is. Pretty much like from this point until you get to like the snowball babies of Jack, it's just a lot of people not believing Sam. This is when I wrote down that Jack's lines make no sense, because he just is like saying shit that like I did not understand at all.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack gouged out eyes with candlesticks.
Was that this point?
No, that was a little later. That was my bad.
No, I
that
thought
was Sam.
I think that's when Sam's talking to the psychiatrist, and he's like kind of giving.
He's going over the song.
Like I should have wrote them down, but Jack just says like a bunch of shit that like aren't even necessarily like puns. They just kind of don't make sense, and it was real weird. Like I feel like he just doesn't make sense until kind of like later on in the movie when he's like actually talking to people. I don't remember why this. I think this next note is because of the scene when like Captain Fun just like jumps into Sam and Anne's bed while they're sleeping. But I just wrote down Captain Fun sucks so much.
So weird.
I fucking hated his character. You also get a scene of like Bobby and the Colonel setting up like the breakfast buffet. And has some very, like, if you're not paying attention, you probably don't spot it. But, like, the Colonel's like, oh, like, these cornflakes need more raisins. This, like, fruit salad needs more orange or whatever. And it's, like, Bobby just, like, kind of ignoring him, but also doing what he said. So, like, he's like, when he's like, this fruit salad needs more orange, he just places a full orange right into, the fruit salad. And he's like... He says something about, like, something in it needs paprika, and instead he's just, like, throwing paprika in the cornflakes. I don't know, there was, like, the small joke of the orange into the fruit salad completely whole made me laugh. While they're doing this, like, you hear, like, somebody starts screaming because they stumbled across Anvil Girl's remains. The Colonel goes running to see what happened. Comes across it, and like Sam shows up, and you get reintroduced to Agent Manners from the first movie, who now has an eye patch. Because I guess like the only damage he took from getting his fucking face chomped on by Jack in the first movie was that he got his eye fucked up.
Yeah, he complained about the amount of surgery he had to have to reconstruct his face, but he looks really good. He had a good surgeon.
Marla even makes a joke later about like when they finally realized like. Because I think pretty much up until Jack comes back, Sam's the only person who knows he's there. Like, but when Marla sees him, she's like, oh, did he get cuter?
An eye patch will do that.
The Colonel who runs this, like, hotel doesn't want people to, like, know that people are getting killed and is, like, trying to tell people that it was a coconut shark attack.
Which leads to a great line. Because he tries to play it off and goes, another attack of the murderous coconut shark. Trying to play it totally straight.
This dude is the best actor in the movie.
Oh my god.
It's so awesome.
I hate those coconut sharks though.
Oh man, they're
a menace.
Falling from trees, attacking people all the time. They, after, like, this scene is also, like, completely ridiculous because it's, like, Agent Manners is trying to hide himself from Sam as they're, like, talking face to face. And he's, like, hiding himself, like like he's hiding the eye patch part away from Sam, so like he can actually see the full part of his face.
Yeah, the most recognizable part.
So they decide they're going to call somebody for help, but the phone lines are dead because Jack flooded them with water.
Naturally.
This is when I wrote down that the Colonel is pretty racist against Indian people. Because he just spouts off more shit about being in some war with India. Which I'm guessing is just, like, supposed to be a joke about how the Colonel's old, but, like, I'm guessing any wars that, like, he would have been in, like, the fucking 1600s or some shit. I don't know, none of his, like, lines about being in war with India made any sense, other than to have some racism that I'm assuming was probably added after they heard we were going to do this movie.
Retroactively placed.
After they kind of realize that like the phones are dead, their plan is to just wait for like whatever supply ship to show up. You cut to the scene of the photo shoot with this model and the over-the-top portrayed gay photographer. This scene is gross. Like this like they're shooting a winter-themed photo shoot on this beach because this photographer thinks that people are going to take him more seriously because he's like, oh man, like look how arty I am with this like girl in a bikini and a surfboard in fucking Hawaii. He complains that her nipples aren't showing enough through her bathing suit. So she gets an ice cube, which is, of course, made of Jack Frost.
Crazy.
To which she starts rubbing on her nipples, and Jack is in complete ecstasy and fucking losing his mind in voiceover.
Just really creepy.
It's so weird. She gets done, throws the ice cube on the ground, and Jack is outraged. Then she asks for an iced coffee because she's too warm and she needs to cool down. To which she puts an ice cube in her mouth, which is also part of Jack Frost. And he immediately just starts fucking losing his mind again because you get like a good like minute of this shot of her just moving this ice cube around in her mouth, and it's gross. She eventually chews and eats the ice cube. Jack gets furious and kills her. What was her death?
So as soon as the photographer goes to take the picture, her head explodes violently.
Right.
And you just hear Jack go, I guess it was decapitated coffee.
Perfect.
I laughed so hard. Like, that was somehow dumber and better than the coconut shark bit.
Oh, this scene was awesome, but also gross. So her head explodes, and then he basically gets the scarf she's wearing and strangles the photographer while taking pictures of him. And this whole scene was basically just set up to get the scarf. Basically,
it's like Metroid at this point. Like, he's just going through gaining all of his powers back.
It's the dudes in the water for the carrot, the girls for the charcoal, and then the scarf is these two. And then you cut to a scene of Sam, Ann, Joe, and Marla at like just shooting, like doing archery, and Marla keeps barely hitting anywhere near the middle and yelling bullseye. It was just driving me crazy. They're kind of just like, again, listening to Sam talk about Jack Frost and then just being like, you fucking idiot. Quit believing this shit. They kind of like, Agent Manor shows up and is like whispering to Sam in his ear, and apparently nobody else can see him. And it's just like, hey, shit's going down. It's probably Jack. Come meet me wherever. Meet me in the lobby. And he's like, why can't we talk here? And Agent Manners is like, I have to pee. And then just fucks off.
So nonchalant, too.
Yeah.
I have to pee, idiot. Jesus. Like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense.
I would have lost my mind if he called him an idiot. So that cuts to like the Sam and Agent Manners in the lobby. Agent Manners introduces his, I guess, helper, which is Captain Fun, who comes up with the idea of having a costume party to try to like lull Jack into a false sense of security to come out.
Show up in his snowman form.
For some reason, everybody on this island has a costume with them.
Naturally.
Sam is dressed up like a hippie, which is when I noticed he looked like Fred Willard. And Agent Manners is literally just wearing like a detective trench coat and hat. Everybody else is just like dressed up as just like the most generic shit you would see in like a costume party scene in any TV show or movie. Except for Captain Fun, who is dressed up like a skier, but has his face painted red, but for the first like...
Oh my god, like almost the entirety of the movie, I thought he was in blackface.
Yeah, so did I. And it took me until his death to realize his face is red from cold.
Like ski burn when you're out like skiing all day at a resort.
But for a long time I was sitting here watching it.
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck?
I was like, this is fucked up, and I was like, am I missing like the joke of who he's supposed to be? And I was like, is just the joke that like I don't know, like I didn't understand it, and then once I realized that it was just like supposed to be red from kind of like being too cold, like a frostbite type thing, I guess. Like it, I don't know, it bummed me out until I realized that it wasn't actually blackface. But that also comes down to like the film quality of this, that like everything is shot at night and it just looked dark and it is gross. I was not into it. Also, I still hate the character a lot, so like everything with him, I'm just kind of like, fuck, this sucks.
I think it speaks to the time period and the movie that I was supremely ready to believe that they just had blackface in it for no reason.
Oh yeah, like it wasn't even like a question to me when I first saw it. I was like, oh fucking really?
I literally just wrote blackface, there is blackface. Just like stunned.
Based on any of the movies we've watched, I would not have put it past it, but
no.
Luckily it was not. Yeah, it just also is just hard to tell until like 30 minutes later, as this character is running around the rest of the movie with this fucking red face. At the party, Sam starts hearing Jack's voice and like seeing like a figure run through the crowd. Sam goes chasing after him, picks up this fucking boat oar, finds a carrot on the ground. As he's looking at it, somebody in a like snowman costume comes behind him. Sam turns around and fucking clocks whoever it is, like the person in the costume with this oar, which 100% would have killed this dude, because you've like after they take the mask off, you realize it's the Colonel. So the Colonel should be dead. Sam is like ranting about how he thought it was Jack. More people. Everyone's just kind of like, we don't believe you. Shut the fuck up. You almost killed somebody. Then you cut to a scene of a random skinny dipper that when I was kind of researching stuff with this movie, apparently a lot of the gore and then like all of the nudity in this scene were like edited out somehow in the VHS version. Which I don't understand because I can't imagine this movie was released in theaters.
There's no way.
At least not like... I could see, you know, obviously like some screenings, but like not... You know, this wasn't like where like Sleepaway Camp played in a bunch of theaters, but it was still kind of, you know, like a terrible movie. Like, I can't imagine in 2000 this movie was playing in like more than like 3 theaters on a weekend.
But yeah, the only way it was in a theater is someone like brought it themselves from home.
Yeah, like a fest.
I'd like to rent out the theater, please.
I could
for Jack Frost too.
I could assume there was maybe like a premiere that it like was in a theater and like obviously like festival things or whatever, but I don't know. This lady starts skinny dipping. You get the bunch of gratuitous shots of her breasts that I'm shocked were not in the first movie. Like, because you have, like, Shannon Elizabeth is nude for a long time in that movie, and you see nothing. This one is just, like, a lady swimming nude for a bunch of shots. Jack shows up, delivers the line, wouldn't mind practicing a little breaststroke myself, and starts to... He puts his hand in the water, and it's just like, oh, too warm. Starts to freeze the water so that it just freezes like the top layer, so she is now trapped underwater. Basically drowns her. Delivers another terrible line that I did not write down. After this death, Jack just decides he needs he delivers some line about a cold one. And starts like icing over this like 6-pack of beer, which then he starts to ice over the entire island. So now this island in Hawaii is just covered in snow. Sam wakes up from another completely weird scene of Sam and Anne laying in bed. Jack comes in and tucks Sam in, which fucking creeped me out to no end. Sam wakes up from this, goes to get like some water, kind of catches the at the window out of the corner of his eye and sees snow, thinks he's dreaming, realizes he's not dreaming as he gets pelted in the face by a snowball.
Thinks he's going to die.
Yeah, well,
this is it.
As he should, because...
Yeah, why the fuck would it be snowing on an island?
Yeah.
Who else is going to throw a snowball?
He's freaking out. Anne's kind of just like, you're just dreaming, it's fine, shut up, go back to bed. As they both start getting pelted with snowballs, and it cuts to Captain Fun busting in their door again. And just fucking
naturally
yelling about a snowball fight, and he needs them on his team or some fucking dumb shit, because this character has no regard for boundaries, apparently. They come to the door, see the entire island covered in snow. Nobody else seems to really be concerned that this fucking tropical island that was in the hundreds the day before is now covered in snow. Sam is fucking losing his mind. And like, it's basically just a bunch of like shit leading up to like the reveal that Jack is real. It's just like, you know, snowball fight. Marla and Joe show up. Sam is kind of like losing his mind and being like, why is nobody concerned that there's snow on this tropical island? Marla keeps being like, you're fucking dumb. Quit talking about Jack. Just enjoy this.
Yeah, it snows on islands all the time.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. Someone said like, oh yeah, it snows here. Just the last time was like in 1864 or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah, I think it was either Joe or Captain Fun. I don't remember which one. Because Joe delivers the line about like, some town in Wisconsin that like it was like like the 80s on like, you know, Christmas Eve, and then by Christmas Day it dropped down to like the 20s or some fucking stupid shit that Marla's like, where do you get this information? And he's like, the Discovery Channel. So I think, is this when Jack starts to reveal himself and he like hits somebody with a snowball or something like that? Or is it like
so I want to say, is it this point, was it this point where he runs out and he sees the snowman like in the middle of everyone partying and he's like, this is Jack, and it turns out to not be Jack? Or did something happen before that?
So because there's a scene before that has the bros with the fucking ice pole.
Oh, of course.
So these two bros from earlier just show up and they find this pole that's like completely frosted over, and they just deliver some absolutely fucking terrible lines and terrible delivery about their beer being warm. Their brilliant idea is that if they stick their tongue on this ice pole and then pour the beer down the ice pole, it'll...
That's right.
...cool the beer, and then it will, like, warm their tongues to get off the ice pole or whatever. The one bro puts his tongue on it, and it's just kind of like, oh, this sucks, I'm stuck. And the other dude just, like, runs off for some reason. I can't remember why he goes, like, I don't know if he's going to, like, get help or whatever. But... Jack Frost shows up, is like, God, fucking laughing at the line already. Fucking Jack Frost shows up, sees the dude stuck on the pole, is like, oh, I'll help you, grabs the dude's head and just yanks it backwards and rips his entire tongue out, and delivers the line, Cowatunga, dude. This is fucking... the best line in the entire movie.
God damn it.
The first time Jack has made sense in the whole movie. I laughed.
This is the only time.
I laughed so hard. And so I think this is when Jack starts to like reveal himself, because I think this is when he like, they're having the snowball fight and somebody gets hit with a snowball and his entire arm blows off. And starts just, like, dousing a lady next to him in blood, like Evil Dead style.
Oh my... But it's, like, the chunkiest fake blood I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, like, it's just, like, bits and pieces of something.
And it's, like, super dark red. It's, like... It's crazy. Like, the dude's entire body full of blood just spurts out within seconds.
It's way grosser than if it was realistic-looking blood.
Yeah. Somebody gets hit in the mouth with a snowball and, like, just dies. Somebody gets... Let's see. I tried to write down every death in this. So you have the arm getting blown off, somebody getting hit in the mouth with a snowball, and then you get a bunch of shots of people getting shot in the stomach with icicles, but one dude that gets hit, like, straight in the face with one. Some dude gets basically pelted to death with snowballs. Some other guy gets hit with a bunch of snowballs or gets, like, pushed or something by Jack and gets, like, blasted through a wall. Sam comes out, like, as, you know, they're realizing people are dying. Sees this fucking, like, horribly built snowman that looks nothing like what Jack Frost looks like in the middle of this courtyard. Starts, like, walking towards it, delivering this fucking... bunch of bullshit lines about, like, how he's kept a vial of antifreeze around his neck on a necklace for, like, the entire year.
The whole year.
Which, like, made me
amazing
laugh at the idea of him sleeping with this vial of antifreeze on his neck. Hey, I know, we're getting to it.
So excited about it.
He likes the reveal when they finally show the puppet of Jack Frost. Sam, like, just fucking... Stop. Sam, like, hey, calm down. Let me get this. We're getting there. You're killing me. So, Sam finally like throws this antifreeze on the snowman, which does nothing, and then pushes the snowman's head off, realizes it's not Jack Frost, and as he turns around to kind of be like, oh, I'm a fucking dummy to the rest of the group, Jack Frost kind of like shows up behind him. Everybody is just like, oh fuck, Jack Frost is here. This is a revelation. Like, and
so shocked.
So the puppet has barely gotten better since the first movie. Like, basically the only difference in it is that he's got like weird icicle teeth that like are visible now. But like,
they don't just show up out of nowhere. They're just there the whole time.
The actual puppetry is like on par with the first movie.
It's so janky and bad. Honestly, the suit looks kind of worse because, like, the arms, you can tell there's some space, like, in the suit, so it'll like fold up on itself. Just looks
like
bad.
The face when it's not supposed to be talking isn't terrible, but like once it starts talking, it just like it's just like the face like crunching up together basically to like be talking. But it pretty much looks just on par with like the first movie. They all realize Jack Frost is there. They all like go running back to their room. Sam reveals a duffel bag full of antifreeze and caulk and like all kinds of shit that he brought with him. Because the first thing on my mind when going to a tropical island would have been, this fucking snowman's gonna show up. So I gotta be prepared.
Naturally.
And one of the things in this movie that like I fucking kind of really, really enjoyed starts here, which is that you get kind of like a gender swap kind of hero thing where Anne slowly becomes like the hero of the movie and Sam is kind of like the kind of like the damsel in distress, for like lack of a better term. And like she starts kind of like taking over like the lead role of hero because everyone's just kind of like, well, why don't we just like stay in the room? We'll use all this caulk to like block all of the entrances so Jack can't get in. And she's like, no, like we have to go warn everybody else. So Agent Manners and Sam fill a bunch of very awesome super soakers with antifreeze, which they're not even, they don't even look like real super soakers. They look like the generic ones you would get at like a dollar store. But they have these super soakers and like antifreeze attached to their belts, which seemed detrimental to like walking to me, but they go on the hunt for Jack Frost while Anne, Joe, and Marla hide in the room. This is when I started to like, I don't even remember why, but I started to question on whether this dude's Jamaican accent is like real or not. Like I don't know why, but Bobby starts delivering some lines, and I was kind of like, I can't tell if this dude's accent is real or just like
he's just putting one on.
Yeah. If like, they were just like, oh, it's a tropical island. Obviously Jamaica and Hawaii are the same thing, so just have an accent.
That's close enough. Just do whatever. It'll be fine.
They come up with an idea to like make this like little pond of antifreeze and cover it with a tarp to like, and like they start pouring potato flakes from the kitchen on it to look like snow to trick Jack. Jack shows up. Oh, so before this, Anne, Joe, and Marla are talking in the room and about like how does Jack know they're there, whatever, and like Joe kind of offhand delivers a line about, oh, well, remember when they like jumped in the antifreeze and like Sam had like that hole in him from the icicle and like their blood mixed together and they just merged DNA somehow.
Yeah, so now he's resistant to the antifreeze.
And Marla's just like, you need to quit watching Discovery Channel. So they build this trap for Jack. Jack shows up. Like, Sam pretends like he ran out of antifreeze in his gun. Jack takes a step towards him and falls in this trap of antifreeze and melts. And everyone's just kind of like, fuck yeah, end of movie. Nope. Jack kind of gets back up, yells at them about how much the antifreeze hurts, but kind of like very quickly like reconstitutes himself back to normal. But you get like some kind of cool looking like special effects of like, you know, the puppet costume all melted or whatever. They realize the antifreeze doesn't work. Jack says he's new and improved because of genetic testing that happened, I guess, in the fucking laboratory during the credits, the opening credits. Jack immediately starts coughing and coughs up a snowball and is just kind of like, oh, all right, bye. It just
And
fucking disappears.
He does a belly flop. He jumps and does a belly flop into the snow, into like a terrible Windows 95 screensaver style, like water splash.
I forgot he did a belly flop.
Incredible.
Oh, it's so awesome. The CGI of this movie is fucking top notch. Like, I'm assuming the people that worked on this movie work on the Marvel movies. That's how good
they have
it
to
is.
now.
I would watch a fucking Marvel movie with it, like Thanos and this fucking CGI. It like, this is a very dated reference, but you know that dancing baby, like you're like a little bit younger than me. This may not make any sense to you. Do you remember
the dancing baby commercial or whatever?
Yeah, like from like Ally
during
McBeal.
the Super Bowl, and that's
yeah, like,
when it really took off.
I remember it because it was like, I remember it being on like Ally McBeal, and like that's what everybody was talking about. But like, it's like pretty much that level of CGI throughout the movie.
Yes,
it's very bad. Still, like, none of it is as bad as like the very beginning when it's like supposed to be the ice reforming or whatever. It literally just looks like animation from like a Sega CD game. So Jack disappears. Joe decides that for whatever reason he needs to pick up the snowball that Jack coughed up. Agent Manners decides he's going to go looking for Jack while everyone else goes and like hides in the kitchen of this hotel. Sam, pretty much for the entire rest of the movie, is just mumbling and rambling to himself about antifreeze, and is basically useless throughout the entire rest of this movie. Because this is pretty much where Anne takes over as like the hero of the movie, which again I kind of enjoyed. Especially for like 2000, that was kind of like not something you saw a lot.
Yeah. Especially in Killer Snowman films.
Well, yeah, everybody knows Killer Snowman films got to be like the man's got to end it. So they're kind of like running, like doing these dumb tests where like they put this snowball in like a skillet with like the heat on, and it sits in it for like 15 minutes and doesn't melt. Joe, for some reason, is just kind of like, no, it's just a snowball. Like his like, I don't understand his like plot development or whatever for this, of like he decides to pick up the snowball thinking it might be important, but then also it's just like for the rest of the time until it like reveals what it is just like, no, it's just a snowball. Like, this fucking thing sat in a skillet with heat on for 15 minutes and didn't melt. And he's still just kind of like, it's just a snowball.
It's totally normal.
This snowball...
I mean, have you ever tried it, Nathan?
Yeah, I have. I pick up snowball eggs
well, that's
all the
very
time.
strange.
You don't live in Ohio where it snows all the time in the winter.
That's true. I'm not afforded the opportunity to try this.
We have snowball eggs everywhere. So, this fucking snowball starts to hatch, and is a tiny snowball baby Jack Frost thing. Immediately sees Captain Fun and is just like says dada. Captain Fun is just like, yeah, I'll be your dad, because he's a fucking lunatic. And immediately gets stabbed in the eye with a fucking icicle, which Marla then hits him in the face with the frying pan and just jams it in deeper and kills him, which was awesome. They trap this little snowball baby. I am bummed out how much I'm gonna have to say snowball baby for the rest of this.
No baby.
So they put it in a blender, and like, Anne delivers the line, "Let's see you breakdance, you little shit." Turns on the blender and blends it all up, to which it just immediately like reforms itself and is like, I don't know
what their thinking was behind that plan. Like, they're all aware that if he turns into water, he just can reform. What is putting it in a blender gonna do?
Everybody in this movie is stupid.
Like, so stupid. Painfully so.
And so, like, it, like, reconstitutes himself. Manners is out looking for Jack, stumbles across this shack that he goes in that is head, like, top to bottom, full of these snowball babies. They, like, Anne calls him on this walkie-talkie, and it's just kind of like, hey, like, bunch of these snowball babies are going to kill you. If you come across them, like, just don't. And he's kind of like, well, I wish you would have told me that a couple minutes earlier. Goes to leave and reaches for the door, and one of these snowball babies bites his fingers off. And I'm guessing he dies because you just see blood splatter everywhere, and then like start just like pouring out from under the door. But you never actually see his dead body, and I have a theory that if they ever make the third movie, that he will be back, because you also you presume he died in the first one, and he doesn't. So we'll never know unless Michael Cooney decides to make the third movie that Kit and I are going to write.
We need Jackzilla.
Yes, that's what the world needs in these dire times. And so after they realize that they need like Bobby and like the Colonel are just kind of like, oh well, we'll just wait for this like the supply ship to show up and we'll leave. And like we can't let these Jack Frost snowball babies like get on the fucking supply ship. They dress up and are in what are basically one step below the shark suits in Bait 3D. They just have like a fucking like a cutting boards and fucking a colander for a helmet and like just all the
absolutely nothing that's gonna protect you.
Yeah, like maybe the what's the word I'm thinking of? Like the oven trays and shit that they have on their chest would maybe help, but like literally nothing else attached to them is going to do any good. They all decide, like the Colonel, Joe, and Anne go out with containers to try and catch all these snowballs. Basically, this is when everything turns into, like, gremlins. Because there's just these, like, snowball babies everywhere. But, like, a handful of them have, like, separate personalities. Like, there's a punk one with icicle mohawk that you just see throughout. You see, like, one of them is constantly drinking. It's, like, there's no way this wasn't supposed to be, like, a Gremlins.
Yeah, some kind of Gremlins spoof.
Quote unquote homage. It's basically just a bunch of shots of like Joe catches some in like a vacuum that has two functions, suck and blow. The Colonel is like out in like this weird fucking bamboo forest on this fucking tropical island, which is where he comes across like a shit ton of them. Anne is still at like the hotel and is like kind of at like the little, it's like the bar kind of courtyard area. He's trying to catch some of them, and a lady jumps out behind the bar and is like, oh, like I need help, blah blah blah. Immediately gets killed by like 4 of these snowball babies just like launching themselves at her, to which like 15 people pop up from behind the bar and start like running around, which I do not understand how these people hid behind that bar the entire time. But they all immediately start getting killed and like obliterated by these snowballs. Anne and the Colonel and Joe make it back to the kitchen. So as like, all these people are getting kind of attacked by the snowball babies, and like they're kind of like attacking Anne. Anne throws like a drink on one of them, and it explodes, and she realizes whatever was in this like cocktail is like the secret to destroying them. They all run
so much better than antifreeze.
Oh, it's like, it is the dumbest thing ever, and I love it. They all make it back to the kitchen. Anne is like questioning Bobby on what's in the drink. He's like, oh, that's like my patented like whatever drink. It's got like, you know, this, and this in it, like, you know, whatever ingredients. But one of the ingredients is banana, and it is discovered that Sam is allergic to banana, and when they melded their fucking DNA together, Jack had to have, like, picked up
the banana allergy.
Which is how that works.
Naturally.
I assume if you get a blood transplant, you pick up whatever that person was allergic to. So, there's this fucking weird 30-second scene that bummed me out, of all of them in there biting open bananas.
Oh, but they're opening bananas like mad people. Like they've got time to just peel it like a normal banana and toss it in there, but they're biting into the like stem and just tearing it open.
It grossed me out.
It's not any more efficient than if you just open a banana like a sane person.
Like, I can't even imagine like the fucking germs that have to be on a banana peel.
Yeah, I'm not biting a banana peel.
Yeah. I'm assuming every actor in this movie died after this from some fucking disease from just chomping into these bananas.
I saw arachnophobia. I know that spiders hide in that.
Oh man,
I've seen that video.
I used to work at like a grocery store's like distribution center.
And
we would get like cases of bananas with like full dead snakes in them.
What in the fuck?
Because of just like, they would like, the snakes would be in the box, and then like due to like the transportation and like, you know, like the condition, like whatever, like the snakes would just die. It would be in there, and you would find like fucking giant fucking like the spiders they warn you about in like Australia, like just these giant fucking like fist-sized spiders and shit in there. It's a fucking nightmare. So there's no way you're gonna get me to bite into a fucking banana peel like that.
No.
So they make this giant fucking pot of like mashed bananas and fill the super soakers with it, and go out and start shooting all these snowballs, killing all of them, basically like wounding one that makes it to Jack. Jack Frost picks it up and is just like comforting it as it dies. It dies, and Jack fucking sheds a tear and says something like, "It's killing time," and fucking like shows up and just starts trying to like it's oh no, so like Jack's like shows up, the Colonel and Bobby are having a discussion, and Jack's nose just bursts through the Colonel's mouth, killing him, which was like a very terrible but awesome effect. He slashes Bobby's throat, so they're both dead. I I'm guessing it was at this scene that he delivers the line, "I now pronounce you totally fucking dead."
Yes, I think so.
Which I fucking laughed at. It was either that or when he like pops up on Marla and Joe, but that line is awesome. Marla and Joe get attacked. They come running into the kitchen and hide in the freezer. Jack traps Anne in like this weird like box that he then starts filling with icicles. Sam's like nowhere to be found because I'm guessing he's just like rambling about antifreeze to himself still. She's calling for help. Jack's like, traps her in this, starts like filling it with icicles, and like the walls kind of slowly start like coming in. And he says something about like, "This is for my babies," and she just gets all fucking like sassy and is like, "Fuck your babies. You should have heard them scream when I was killing them." It's just fucking awesome. Made me like her character even more. As like the walls are closing, he just like reforms himself back into Snowman form, which I believe would have killed her. Sam shows up with a bow and arrow, shoots a fucking banana into Jack, and Jack just fucking explodes everywhere. Sam immediately...
What a sentence. Can we take a step back and appreciate that sentence?
I mean, it makes sense to me. This is stuff that happens every day, Kit.
Thousands of people die every day just like this from their banana allergies.
Getting shot in the chest with a banana arrow.
Having a banana arrow.
So Jack explodes into what I can only assume is soap. Because there's just like this soap goo everywhere. Sam is fucking reaching around in this stuff everywhere looking for Anne. Anne's hand finally comes up out of it, and like... I don't understand where she was hiding, but whatever. She's still alive somehow. It cuts to Sam carrying her on the beach, talking about where they're going to go on their next vacation, maybe Greece. Some fucking dumb bullshit. And then it cuts to credits, which has a scene that is supposed to set up what would be Jackzilla, which is this boat. Like I'm guessing it's supposed to be like a Japanese fishing boat. The two characters, these two Asian characters, are just like dubbed in the stereotypical like Godzilla, like mouth not syncing up with what's being said. And a giant carrot falls on the boat, killing them. And then it cuts to, just all the regular credits, and there's like a post-credit scene of Martha and Joe, like all it is the shot of like the freezer door, Martha yelling for help, Joe's turning blue, and then it's just quiet for like 45 seconds. And I guess you're supposed to just assume they both froze to death in there. So Sam is a very shitty hero. He just let like 2 of his police officers die. And that's the end. That's Jack Frost 2. I highly recommend watching this movie. I very much enjoyed it.
It is so ridiculous. So much more ridiculous than I had thought it would be, which is not something I thought I would say going into a Killer Snowman movie sequel.
Yeah, it's
set on a tropical island.
It's pretty good. I didn't really grab like any news other than kind of like there was like the like Fangoria release a lists like every month about what is coming to streaming sites.
Oh yeah.
And so Shudder has like a fuck ton of movies.
Yeah, that was about the only news I've got is Shudder added a shitload of Stephen King the other day and a handful of other things yesterday or the day before.
Some of the stuff that's on this list, I think, is stuff they already had, but they listed all of their like Christmas movies.
Oh yeah.
But we're getting another Last Drive-In, I think on the 21st or maybe the 15th. But
okay.
Be a Christmas Joe Bob Briggs marathon. I'm still working my way through the Thanksgiving one.
I haven't started it. I need to.
I finished the first 2 movies. I need to watch the second 2. Black Christmas and Christmas Evil and Silent Night, Deadly Night are coming on there, which are all very good. If you want to watch some garbage Christmas horror movies.
Always.
Yeah. Creepshow 1 is now on there, but Creepshow 2 was already on there, so you can watch both of those. Cujo, The Dead Zone, Misery, Pet Sematary, Salem's Lot, Silver Bullet. Bunch of fucking sweet Stephen King stuff. Dead and Buried, which I think we talked about last week, because...
Fantastic movie.
Itchy the Killer, which I could not recommend enough. Because pretty much any, like, Japanese horror movie is fucking worth watching. Because they're all fucking completely out of their mind. Netflix has Bride of Chucky coming to it. Also, John Carpenter's Christine, which I haven't seen ever, so I look forward to rewatching that.
Still fantastic.
Yep. My Bloody Valentine, I'm not sure which one.
I enjoy both, so
I do too.
I'll take it.
Shaun of the Dead's going to be on there, which is a fucking amazing movie. Let's see. Amazon Prime is getting Event Horizon, which
I fucking hate Event Horizon.
Do you?
I'm sorry, everyone. I don't like it.
I've seen it since like it first came out, so I'm going to give it like a rewatch because I don't really remember much about it.
I try watching it every year, and every year I'm like, this is so dumb.
Hereditary is going to be on there, which I have not seen yet, but I also, based on everybody's reaction to it, I have a feeling I'm going to hate it, but I'm going to at least give it a watch.
I felt like it was just like a 2-hour-long anxiety attack.
It's just like
I really dug it, but
a lot of the movies that like the last couple years that everybody like really latched onto horror-wise, like I watched and was kind of just like, this is fine. I just kind of don't care. Like I thought it was like It Follows is not a bad movie, but like seeing, months of being like, this is the resurgence of great horror, blah, blah, blah. This movie is amazing. I was kind of like, okay, this is good, but like, I felt like, I don't know, it just got overhyped for me. The soundtrack is pretty fucking amazing though.
I think if you like, the batch of more atmospheric horror movies, new horror movies, like The Witch, it's very much in the vein of The Witch, where I
did not like The Witch.
A lot of... Okay, then you won't like it.
I mean, like...
I feel fairly confident saying you won't enjoy it.
I'm going to watch it anyway, but... Amazon Prime is also getting Mars Attacks.
Oh, hell
which
yeah.
is fucking super good. Hulu... The one movie I highly suggest everybody revisit, Halloween Resurrection.
Deal. Done.
Get some Busta Rhymes in your life. I don't know what like a lot of the stuff is coming to Hulu. Oh well, Blue Velvet's going to be on there, which isn't necessarily a horror movie, but Krampus Unleashed. Oh, I guess
that sounds like some trash.
Yeah, The Exorcist will be on there. I Am Not a Serial Killer. Along Came the Devil, The Devil's Doorway. Some TV show called Into the Dark, New Year, New You.
Yeah, they're doing a horror anthology type thing where each month they release a new movie on Hulu that is based on the holiday, like a new horror movie based on the holiday.
Oh, that's interesting. Have you watched any of it?
I haven't. So I've been watching King of the Hill all the time on Hulu the past month.
I am 6 seasons into Married with Children right now for some reason.
I see commercials for the latest one. I think it comes out this week or something, called Puka or something like that. About like a demon-possessed like children's television suit or something. And it looks interesting, and I guess it's done by Nacho Vigalondo, or he's in some way involved. So I'm pretty sold on it based just on that.
Yeah, like I didn't know what it was. This is the first I'm hearing about it. That's at least intriguing enough that I'll at least give it a shot. I don't know. HBO Now, if you have that, you can watch Dawn of the Dead and Land of the Dead sometime this month. But I think that was it. Like, Shudder's got, like, just a fucking insane list of shit coming, so, you know, Shudder, sponsor us.
Come on.
Oh, David Cronenberg's Existence is going to be on Shudder.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking batshit crazy movie.
I love that movie.
Yes, it's real good.
Fingers in portholes.
Yes. If only video games were like that.
I don't think I play them very much.
So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Next week will be Mother Krampus, which is streaming for free on Hulu and Amazon Prime. I know nothing about this movie other than it's called Mother Krampus, and the poster for it looks absolutely terrible. So I'm pretty excited to see how bad it's going to be. Because I can't imagine it's going to be good. And then upcoming after that will be Better Watch Out, which is a Shudder exclusive. Santa Sleigh, which I'm assuming you could just torrent or rent somewhere. Go to Family Video, they probably still have them. Or if you could find, like, go to Alaska to, like, the one existing Blockbuster. Get you some Santa Sleigh. And then New Year's Evil, which is streaming as part of Amazon Prime Instant as well. You can follow us on Twitter at I Hope You Suffer, on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast, Facebook at I Hope You Suffer Pod. You can email us at ihopeyousufferpodcast@gmail.com. You know, Shudder, shoot us an email. We're waiting.
My bank account's ready.
Let us quit our jobs.
Please.
That'd be fucking amazing. Shudder's just like, we're gonna give you fucking each $40,000 a year. I'm like, good, I'm down. I quit.
Yeah, I'm so in. Give us our own show.
Yes. Let us just fucking talk shit about the movies on your service. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You got anything?
I got nothing.
Yeah. You can there's a new episode of The Appendix. Go listen to that. And listen to Kid.
We talk shit on people that play as Stryker in Mortal Kombat.
As
Stryker's a cop, and if you play him, you're a cop.
Very much deserved. If you play anybody that's just a human, those games you're fucking up.
If you're not playing as a ninja, what are you doing with your life?
All right, that's all we got. I hope you suffer, but why?
But why?